Welcome to The Book of Life, a show about Jewish people and the books we read, the music we listen to, and the movies we watch. I'm Heidi Estrin. The Book of Life is a podcast service of the Feldman Library at Congregation B'nai Israel in Boca Raton, Florida. In this June 2006 episode of our podcast, we celebrate summer reading with an armchair trip around the world. We'll talk to author Holly-Jane Rahlens from Germany and to author Pnina Moed Kass from Israel. We'll learn how to participate in a Los Angeles Jewish summer reading club without leaving home. We'll hear Jewish music from all over the world on Putumayo's Jewish Odyssey CD. And we'll virtually attend a library convention by blogging. So buckle your seatbelt and let's get going. Holly-Jane Rahlens is the author of Prince William, Maximilian Minsky, and Me, published in Germany in 2002 and in the U.S. by Candlewick in 2005. The novel won major accolades in Germany and received a 2006 Sidney Taylor Honor Medal from the Association of Jewish Libraries. We spoke to Holly by phone at her home in Berlin, Germany.
Holly, tell us about Prince William, Maximilian Minsky, and Me. First of all, what's with that funky title?
Well, the title is a triangle, a love story, first love. We all know who Prince William is, the future king of Great Britain. The book takes place in 1997, so at the time he was 15 years old. Maximilian Minsky, he's a New Yorker, very new to Berlin, the new boy on the block. He's 15 years old. And the I in the story is Nellie Sue Edelmeister. Nellie is a German-American girl. Her mother is a Jewish New Yorker, a journalist, and the German father, he's not Jewish, he's a clarinet player. Nellie has a crush on Prince William. It all takes place right after Princess Diana's tragic car accident where she was killed in August 1997. I don't know what it was like in the States, but here in Germany, all the women were looking at Prince William and saying, oh, the poor child. He was cute, he was 15. All the girls fell in love with him. And so my story takes off from there.
There are many strands to this story. Nellie's crush on Prince William, her bat mitzvah, her attempts to become a basketball star, her relationship with Maximilian. For you, what's the key element of the story?
I personally think the most important theme in this book is Nellie learns what it means to belong. She learns where she comes from, her Jewish roots, most important, and she learns to accept that and to embrace her roots and to become a part of the Jewish community.
The book was originally published in German and won the German Youth Literature Award in 2003.
The Deutsche Jugendliteraturpreis. It's like the Newbery, and I was really excited to get this because it was my first novel for young people. I'd written 2 other novels for adults.
Is it unusual for a book with Jewish content to get such recognition in Germany?
It is not unusual. Quite the contrary. Germany loves books about Jews. However, it was the very first book written about German Jews of the 3rd generation. There's so many books about kids in the Holocaust. So that is one of the reasons why it got so much recognition, because it was a first, actually.
Can you tell us how you came to live in Germany and what it's like to be Jewish in Berlin these days?
When I was in college, I happened to meet a German who was traveling, and we fell in love. I was young, adventurous, and I thought, great, let's go. I went to Berlin, and I actually liked it, and I was very lucky to get work in radio, in the media, doing something creative. And then, when this relationship actually was over, many years later, there was no reason for me to stop living in Berlin. I think living in Berlin has made me far more aware of what it means to be Jewish than if I had stayed in New York City. Because the Germans really talk a lot about Jews in the cultural limelight, so it became a very important theme for me.
I understand the book is being made into a movie in Germany. Are you part of the process of turning it into a film?
Yes, I wrote the screenplay, and it starts shooting on July 11th, right after the World Cup. Writing for the film industry is a complete completely different ballgame. When you write a novel, it's like it's art, and it's all your own. But in the film industry, they say, you know what? This has to be changed immediately. They have their own decisions, and either you do it, and if you don't, you're out. So it's all a matter of craft, of completely whittling down everything.
Does Prince William himself appear in the movie?
I am sorry to say that the prince is no longer Prince William. They decided they did not want to do a so-called historical movie that takes place in 1997. They wanted a movie that takes place in the year 2006. And in the year 2006, Prince William is 25 years old and not really that interesting anymore for a 13-year-old girl. They decided to make a fictitious prince from Luxembourg, one of these small countries that no one really knows anything about.
Holly, what's next for you?
Well, I have another novel that actually recently came out here in Germany this past fall, also a book for young people, called How to Really Kiss. By the way, Nellie has an important part in How to Really Kiss. She's not a sequel to Prince William, but she's in that book. I always use all of my characters in all my books.
Holly-Jane Rahlens, thanks so much for speaking with us.
I loved it. I've given so few interviews about this book in English, so it's such a pleasure to finally say everything I ever wanted to say about this book.
How would you like to do a mitzvah and win a gift certificate at the same time? Fill out a short online survey about the Book of Life podcast to let us know how we're doing. If you complete the survey by the end of June, you'll be entered into a drawing for an electronic gift certificate for Powell's City of Books. Just click on the survey link at jewishbooks.blogspot.com to participate. Thanks. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Abigail Yasker is the director of the Jewish Community Library of Los Angeles, but kids from anywhere in the world can earn a prize by joining the library's Jewish Summer Reading Club. We spoke to Abigail by phone in L.A. to learn more. Abigail, what is the Jewish Summer Reading Program?
The Jewish Summer Reading Program is a reading program for families across the United States, Canada, and worldwide. What we do is we ask anybody who wants to participate to read 6 Jewish-themed books throughout the course of the summer, submit the list of books read, and then what the library does is reward you for your effort by giving you a certificate and a special prize. Always has something to do with books, Israel, or Jewish life, but it is a surprise, and it's appropriate for most every audience.
So you're not going to tell us what the prize is?
Not going to tell you, but it is a beautiful prize.
So it's not based on how many books you read. You just get one prize for participating and doing a minimum of 6 books?
One prize for participating. You, of course, can read many more if you like throughout the summer. Summer represents downtime. So we just want to encourage more reading so that you don't lose that connection with books and literature throughout the summer. Now, we make it really easy because if you have a parent who is reading to 4 children, 5 children, 6 children, it counts for however many kids. And they all get a prize, and they all get a certificate.
Now, do the readers need to stick to books that are on a certain recommended reading list?
They do not. They can read anything that has Jewish content. Another thing is, for some kids, it's really easy because every week they're reading a part of the Torah. So even if they're reading the Parsha, that counts.
How many years has this program been running?
Approximately 7 years, and it grows every single year. We have a large contingent from Michigan. We have a contingent from Louisiana, Denver, Los Angeles, of course, which is our base operation, all over the States and even Canada. And Israel. We've had Israeli participants as well.
Do children need to be Jewish in order to participate?
Absolutely not. We want everybody reading and finding out about Jewish life. We have so much to learn from different cultures, and we have so much to teach.
How do families sign up for the program?
All you have to do is complete the handy-dandy form at jclla.org. We just want to get people excited about reading Jewish this summer.
Abigail Yasker, thanks so much for talking to us.
Absolutely. It was my delight and joy.
Putumayo is well known for its great world music CDs. Jacob Edgar, Vice President of Artists and Repertoire for Putumayo and founder of a new record label, Kumbancha, spoke to us by phone from his home in Vermont about some of the Jewish artists with whom he works. Jacob, how did you choose what songs to include on the Jewish Odyssey CD?
Well, the Putumayo approach to creating collections of music from different parts of the world and different cultures is to try to find those songs that will be universally appealing, authentic, and they're from the tradition, but they would appeal to an audience that might not necessarily be familiar with the tradition as well.
What are some of the different world Jewish cultures represented on this album?
We tried to include some of the Ashkenazi, sort of the Eastern European tradition. We tried to include Sephardic Jewish culture, and then something that also represents more Middle Eastern sort of ancient history of Jewish music and culture, as well as, Yemenite and those types of things.
Is there any particular piece on the album that kind of stands out for you as a really special piece?
I love them all. I'm a big fan of Chava Alverstein. She's somebody that I think has represented a lot for Israeli music in particular and is very important and popular in Israel and has done a lot to help bring more attention to Yiddish language music, which she's been doing more and more of recently. And I think The Golden Apava is a really beautiful song and a great opening track to the record.
Does Putumayo include Jewish music in any of its other mixes?
Yeah, we've had music by Jewish artists on a lot of different projects. There's one artist named Fortuna who is actually a Sephardic Jew who lives in Brazil. She's on Jewish Odyssey, and she's also been on a number of other Putumayo CDs. She's made appearances on things that have more of a Mediterranean flavor to them. She's been on compilations that deal with women's music from around the world. And so there's other opportunities to get music with Jewish traditions in other collections. And I think we're planning in 2007 to do a compilation of music specifically from Israel.
You recently started your own record label. Can you tell us about that?
Putumayo focuses on compilations. And along the way, in the past 8 years, as I've been working with Putumayo and traveling around the world and discovering music and meeting artists, I kept coming across artists that I felt were really exceptional. We say at Putumayo that doing a compilation is like dating, and signing an artist is like getting married. And I wanted to settle down with some of the artists, so I decided that it was time to start a new project called Kumbancha. It's an artist-based record label. Most of the artists that will appear on Kumbancha have appeared on Putumayo compilations in the past or will in the future. One thing that will be coming up on Kumbancha as well as on Putumayo is an Israeli artist who has been very successful in Israel and within the Jewish community. The goal that I have with Kumbancha is to expose this artist to a public outside of that community. His name is Idan Reichel. He's one of the most successful performing artists in Israel, and it's interesting because he collaborates with Ethiopian Jews who have immigrated to Israel and fuses Ethiopian music with Israeli music with a bit of Middle Eastern music, and it's a very interesting cross-cultural collaboration that demonstrates the diversity of Israel. I don't think a lot of people outside of the community, and maybe even within Israel, realize how diverse a melting pot Israel is. Jewish people from Russia, from different parts of Europe, from Latin America, from Africa. It just sort of speaks to what both Kumbancha and Putumayo is all about in demonstrating that cultures can work together to help create a better world.
Jacob Edgar, thanks so much for speaking with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Is the golden Apave geflogen, geflogen, und die Nacht hat geöffnet die golden.
Pnina Moed Kass is an American author who made Aliyah to Israel over 35 years ago. Her 2004 young adult novel, Real Time, published by Clarion, won the Sidney Taylor Book Award, the National Jewish Book Award, and a number of non-Jewish awards as well. We spoke to Pnina by phone when she came to New York this spring to receive her National Jewish Book Award.
Pnina, tell us about your book, Real Time.
Real Time is a fictional account, and I stress fictional, a fictional account of the act of a suicide bomber, a 16-year-old terrorist who gets on a bus in Jerusalem and blows the bus up. The effect of that act on about 8 people is the story that I tell in Real Time.
This must have been a difficult story to tell. What inspired you to write it?
the horrors of the first Intifada and the second Intifada, I guess they welled up in me because I frankly never thought I would write a novel about life in contemporary Israel. And I guess that is the motivation behind my writing Real Time.
What were the challenges in bringing this book to life?
One is in craft and one is in research. I went to Hadassah Hospital, saw the trauma unit, met with nurses, social workers. I read a lot of articles about why people become suicide bombers, what do they hope to achieve. The challenge involved in craft is, where do you place the act? I chose to put the act in the middle of the book, so that my readers get to know the people who are going to be on that bus. The other challenge was that I have written the book according to the ticking of a clock, which is why I call it real time. The bus has a time schedule. The bomber has a time schedule.
What has been the reaction to Real Time?
It is being widely read by both adults and teenagers, which of course pleases me. There are some people that think it is extremely negative. There's some people that get angry that I don't offer a solution. And my answer to all of that is, if you're intrigued by the story and you believe my credentials, then you have to open yourself up to the events that are happening and understand that this is, in real time, the real world.
Although you live in Israel, you wrote Real Time in English. And
yes.
And it was published in the United States by Clarion. Has it been translated into Hebrew or any other languages?
Yes, Real Time has been translated into German and French. It will be translated into Italian in 2007. There will be a German audio recording of Real Time. It has not been translated into Hebrew because for the Israeli reader, it's a story that he reads, unfortunately, in the newspapers on an almost daily basis. So it gathers interest to people who live outside of Israel and want a deeper story than maybe a soundbite on CNN or the BBC.
You just received the National Jewish Book Award for Real Time. What was that like?
Well, first of all, I received last year the Sidney Taylor, which to me was almost the summit of my career. And on top of the Sidney Taylor, which is prestigious enough to get the National Jewish Book Award, really was astounding. And I received it in very illustrious company. The other fiction winner was Amos Oz. Deborah Lipstadt, the woman who had the libel trial against the Holocaust denier Clifford Irving, received a prize for her telling of that libel suit. So I was in wonderful, wonderful company, and I was duly awed.
Pnina Moed Kass, thank you so much for speaking with us.
It's totally my pleasure.
The Association of Jewish Libraries holds its annual convention in June for librarians who work in day schools, synagogues, college settings, and other Judaica collections. This year, for the first time, the convention will be blogged. The instigator of this project was, yours truly, and AJL member Cheryl Stahl from Hebrew Union College Library in L.A. will be your blog host. Cheryl and I discussed the project during a Florida to California phone call.
Heidi, it's great to talk to you, and I was wondering how you got involved in AJL blogging.
I thought it would be a great idea to have the Association of Jewish Libraries convention blog as a way to explain what's going on at the convention and give a sneak peek to people who perhaps weren't able to attend it themselves. Cheryl, what interested you in volunteering to work on the blog project for the convention?
I sort of dipped one toe into blogging. At my library, Hebrew Union College, we publish a list of new books. And on the other side, I've been reading other librarians' blogs and trying to keep up on the professional literature. I thought it just sounded like a fun way to get involved in the convention, to increase my own technical expertise. since you recruited me to this, I mean, who did you have in mind that would be reading this blog?
I hope that AJL members will read it, but I also hope that people who are just learning about AJL will read it and find out more about the organization, because the convention is one of the most sparkly things that we do. I also think that it would be of interest to people who have a personal interest or a professional interest in Jewish literature, just to see what kind of things Judaica librarians are talking about when we all get together. Cheryl, what topics can we expect to read about on the convention blog?
I'm going to try and keep the tone somewhat chatty, so I'll have reports of the sessions that I'm attending, but also the other things that go on at the conventions. There's always great vendor booths and shopping, speakers at the meals, networking, and I am hoping that at least a few people who are there who are attending sessions that I didn't will be able to post. We might be able to start kind of an online conversation about different impressions of sessions that we've gone to.
I hope that after the convention is over, the people who were there will go back to the blog and add their comments to give a more well-rounded picture of what was going on at the convention. Cheryl, thanks so much for talking with me about the convention blog. I look forward to seeing you in Cambridge for the Association of Jewish Libraries convention.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks so much for calling, and yeah, it'll be nice to actually see your face.
Be sure to check out the AJL convention blog at jewishlibrariesconf06.blogspot.com. If you'd like to share a page from your own book of life, or to express your opinion on our show about a particular book, CD, or video owned by the Feldman Library, email me, Heidi Estrin, at heidi@cbiboca.org, or call our new Book of Life listener comments line at 206-888-2657. Just so you know, this is not a toll-free number. Don't forget to fill out the online survey about the Book of Life podcast to get your name into a drawing for an electronic gift certificate for Powell's City of Books. Just click on the survey link at jewishbooks.blogspot.com. Our background music is provided by the Freilich Makers Klezmer String Band from Sacramento, California, whose CDs feature upbeat music from the Ashkenazic and Sephardic traditions with Brazilian, Gypsy, and Celtic influences. Borrow their CDs at the Feldman Library or buy your own copies at freilichmakers.com. To download episodes of the Book of Life podcast, visit us on the web at jewishbooks.blogspot.com. That's jewishbooks, one word, .blogspot.com. Links to the books and CDs mentioned in the show are available on this website. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy reading!